What the? What's going on? Why am I alone out here?
You're not alone, you're just having some idiotic dream. Make a video about Scott Pilgrim versus the world and maybe you'll feel better. I mean, it's just a thought.
Wait, what does that even mean? Who's Scott Pilgrim? What do you mean? What the? I know what I gotta do. What the? Where am I at now? I gotta stop drinking. Well, while I'm here, let me just tell you about Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was released in 2010 and is an action comedy starring Michael Cera and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. With only a budget of about $85 million, which is about $125 million in today's standards, this movie beats a lot of modern day movies in my opinion. Now, does the CGI look great? No. Is it well written? Matter of fact, this movie only made about $52 million worldwide, making it a net loss on the studio's end. However, I don't think that takes away from how good this movie is. It knows what it is and it doesn't take itself serious. I mean, I don't think they were trying to get an Oscar while making this movie, which if they were, then, I mean, at least you tried, pal. I really love the editing style. It's real unique and it helped popularize this punk type of aesthetic. Of course, it's also video game themed, making everything seem like a retro styled video game on the NES, like Zelda or Mario or something. Okay, enough yapping. What is this movie even about? So the movie starts off by introducing us to our main character, Scott Pilgrim. Now, bro is kind of a loser, I can't even lie.
So what you guys like, do it yet?
We have done many things. We ride the bus together.
I mean, he doesn't even have his own crib. He doesn't have a job, which I guess is pretty normal nowadays. But to make things worse, bro is dating a high schooler. And he's 22 years old. Get your ass on, boy. At your big age, bro, this is like super senior. Super senior. What the hell? So yeah, this is Scott's girlfriend, Knives Chow. And today he's gonna introduce her to his little garage band named Sex Bomb. What a great name. Needless to say, she was pretty blown away by how they rock.
You're so amazing.
It seems like everyone has a problem with the fact that Scott's dating a high schooler, but hey, he's just trying to keep EDP's legacy alive.
What?
Scott takes Knives on a date to the thrift store where she finds this CD. Turns out that Scott's last girlfriend is actually a famous pop star who left him as soon as she started taking off.
I turned into a total bitch and ruined my life forever, but that's just me.
Hey man, I feel you for real. He decides to go with Knives to take a visit to his childhood home. Out of nowhere, something bright flashes his face and he somehow ends up in a desert.
So alone.
You're not alone.
What?
You're just having some idiotic dream.
This looks pretty familiar for some reason. I'ma let y'all decide how accurate mine was. Scott gets up from his dream waking up his roommate and also his roommate's boyfriend. I guess I should have mentioned that Scott lives with his gay roommate Wallace. I'm not gonna lie, Wallace is probably hands down the best character. He's hilarious.
Turn off the light! Presumably, you just saw some guy's junk. And I apologize for that.
Okay.
And he apologizes too. Sorry.
While on another date at the library with Knives, Scott runs into the girl from his dreams. Is it meant to be? Who knows? Later that night, Scott goes to a party. Being the determined man that he is, he starts asking people if they know the girl from his dreams.
You know this one girl with hair like this?
Yes, that's Ramona Flowers. I gotta tell you though, I hear that she's a little hardcore.
Despite what he was told, Scott goes off looking for her and finds her. Now let me tell you something, Scott's game with these females is crazy. I swear, it's really next level.
Am I dreaming? I'll leave you alone forever now. Thanks.
Shit, I couldn't have done better myself. Now obviously I was just playing about Scott having game, but I want to note how Scott's friend Julie points out how Scott has played 3 different women. And now he's trying to play Knives? Damn, bro. Maybe Scott really does have that dog in him. After finding out that Ramona works at Amazon, he decides to order a package. While on the computer, he receives an email from a Matthew Patel talking about some evil exes in a duel or something. Honestly, who even reads their emails anymore? He goes on another date with Knives, but this time he's definitely less interested. I mean, just look at how much effort he was putting before and now into the combos. Come on, man, put your hips into it, bro. He finally gets the courage to say something, but right when he's about to say it, he fumbles. Scott woke up to Ramona at the door with his package. He asked her out to a date, and surprisingly, she said yes.
So do you want to go out sometime?
No, that's okay. You just need to sign for this, alright?
I just woke up and you were in my dream.
Even if it was kind of by force. Surprisingly, she showed up and they started going for a walk while talking. Scott, I don't know how you doing, man. She invited him over to her crib to warm up and to have some tea. While she was heating the tea, she went to grab a blanket for Scott. Bro was too impatient, so he went to check on her and she was changing.
Sorry. I'm just cold.
Does that help?
Okay.
Scott, my man, I don't know how you do it. They didn't get to do the and the boom boom, but Scott did get her number. And he got Ramona to show up to his show later. Fast forward on to before the concert is about to start. Scott meets with Ramona and then... So with Knives being there, Scott decides it's time to dip. One of my favorite parts about this scene is how Wallace flirts with Scott's sister's boyfriend. I don't know why that shit hilarious to me. Backstage, Scott sees Knives and Ramona chatting it up, and that's a big no-no. So Scott decides that it's time to start playing good and loud. So good and loud that Knives straight up passes out. In the middle of the song, some emo guy comes crashing in saying he's Matthew Patel. And just like that, shit gets going. One thing I love is the amount of anime inspired scenes there are. There's so many and they all just go so hard. After battling it out for a minute, with one last punch, it was all over. Y'all ladies better hide y'all's man from Wallace. On the bus ride home, Ramona tells Scott that he's gonna have to defeat all 7 of her evil exes if he wants to date her. Man, like what the fuck? The next day, Scott wants to bring over Ramona, so he asks Wallace if he could have some alone time. Wallace agrees under one condition. He has to break up with Knives that same day.
Hey, morning. Hey, Jimmy.
Double standard!
On a date with Scott, Knives decides to invite him over to her birthday dinner. But he decides he has other plans. Damn, Scott. I don't know how you do it. You cold. Later that day, Scott and Ramona go on a walk. They stumble across this big castle movie set. The star of the movie is Lucas Lee, played by Chris Evans. He's some big Hollywood actor who also happens to be Ramona's ex. Now Lucas gets straight to action by fighting Scott. And Scott gets whooped, I can't even lie. Especially after Lucas starts to play dirty. He brings out his stunt team and they all start whooping him. They start jumping him for real. But after fighting Lucas and his stunt doubles for a little bit, Scott realizes that he can't beat him with his strength, but maybe he could beat him with his wits.
Can you do a thingy on that rail?
There are like 200 steps and the rails are garbage.
Well, hey, if it's too hardcore.
So he really hits Lucas with the no balls, you won't. And that shit works like a charm, bro. Literally, bro falls for it right away.
Wow.
Steven says that Scott's famous ex-girlfriend Envy wants Sex Bomb to open at her show. Reluctantly, Scott agrees. Knives decided to change her whole look and go out with Scott's friend Neil. Scott didn't seem too fazed though. Damn, Scott, you really a player like that, bro. I don't know how you do it. You made Future seem like a rookie. After everyone finished performing, Envy invited Scott and his band backstage. While catching up, turns out that the bass player that Envy left Scott for is also Ramona's ex. They was chatting it up for a little bit, but Todd, Ramona's ex, straight up punched the highlights out of Knives' hair. Neil was too much of a pussy to do anything, so Scott had to take it into his own hands. Yeah, bro gotta go. Turns out that Todd is vegan, which in the words of Envy,
Being vegan just makes you better than most people.
so yeah, being vegan basically just makes you Super Saiyan. Basically, when you're vegan, you turn into Sonic with all 9 of the Chaos Emeralds. They begin to have a battle of the bass, and Scott gets absolutely wiped. So Scott's losing against this Super Saiyan vegan. And when everything seems like it's going wrong for Scott, he tricks Todd into drinking half and half milk. The vegan police come crashing in just like how they do in real life when you stop being vegan. Turns out this was Todd's third strike eating something that's not vegan. So he lost all of his vegan powers and Scott straight up obliterated him into some coins. All of this evil exes stuff is really starting to affect Scott. But ignoring that, they decide to hit up an after party. Scott runs into another ex, but something was different. Yeah, so one of Ramona's exes was a girl. And Scott does not agree with hitting women. So Ramona, it's time for you to fight. After fighting for a little bit, turns out that Scott has to be the one to defeat Ramona's ex. Hey Scott, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. Sometimes you gotta turn into Chris Brown. Scott was about to get kicked in the face and defeated until Ramona gave Scott a useful tip. So yeah, he really just finished her off by making her finish. Man, what the fuck?
You'll never be able to do this!
Damn, Scott, she got you there, bro. After having some drinks, Scott and Ramona get into it.
Is there anyone at this party that you haven't slept with?
Scott, you sold the bag, bro.
Just another evil ex waiting to happen.
Damn. Scott is determined, so he's ready to take on Ramona's next ex. Or should I say exes. Yeah, so Ramona dated some twins. I don't know if it was at the same time. They didn't say in the movie. But Scott, my guy. I wasn't trying to judge too hard, but you do realize you're fighting for a straight bop right now. Like, literally, bro. Turns out the Kati... I'm not even going to try to say that. So Sex Bomb is going to play against the twins at the next Battle of the Bands. Except this time they're going amp for amp. Once at the show, Scott notices Ramona in the crowd talking to some dude. Damn, Scott, I told you she was for the streets. Okay, now it's time for Sex Bomb versus the Kimchi twins. Sex Bomb is jamming out at first until the twins make these electric hologram looking dragons pop out of nowhere. And then Sex Bomb gets blown away, literally. Steven is all upset because they went out in front of Gideon Graves like that, aka G-Man, the producer they was talking about earlier. That's when Scott finds out that the guy that Ramona is with is actually G-Man. That's enough to fuel him to start playing again, and then they spawn in this hologram Yeti looking thing. It begins to start whooping the dragon. That dragon got whooped so bad that it fell on the twins and killed them. Like, bro, how you gonna kill your owner? After this, Scott got an extra life too. That's a W in my opinion. Scott goes chasing after Ramona to tell her how he really feels about her, but she has to cut that short. She's leaving him for Gideon, who pulls up to make things even worse. He offers to sign Sex Bomb to his record label, but Scott won't budge, and neither will his friends.
Well, guess again. No.
Shit. Well, bro, at least you got your girlfriend. Oh, wait. Damn, I would have crashed out. Scott gets a call from Gideon inviting him to his club that will have Sex Bomb performing. Just like that, Scott is on to the final ex. Scott confronts Gideon, and after confessing his love to Ramona again, he got a love katana. He starts fighting Gideon's goons, but once he gets to Gideon, he gets knocked out. Knives pops in out of nowhere and saves Scott, but she's not here for Gideon. She's here for Ramona. After a bit of duking it out, Scott confesses that he cheated on Knives with Ramona. And then, Scott literally dies. Scott turns up back in the desert and Ramona reveals that she's being controlled by Gideon. Now, I don't know if y'all remember what I said literally 2 minutes ago, but Scott got a 1-up earlier. Oh yeah, baby, it's time for business. He confronts Gideon, and this time it's him who gets knocked out. Knives pulls up again to fight Ramona, but this time Scott mans up and tells her that it's not Ramona's fault, but it's his for hurting her. Gideon pulls up, ruining the moment, and begins to fight with Scott. It's all good though, cause 2-player mode gets activated when Knives starts kicking his ass too. Together, they whoop Gideon until Scott's sword breaks. Scott gets knocked to the ground, and Ramona goes up to Gideon like she's about to kiss him. Damn, Scott, you really got your bitch took. Then out of nowhere, she kicks him in the nuts. Bro gets so mad at this that he becomes a husband from the 1950s and starts straight up abusing her. Oh, hell nah, bro. You gotta go. Just like that, Knives and Scott whoop Gideon into a bunch of coins too. Now this is what I'm talking about making it rain. Outside the club, he starts talking to Knives, and then Ramona decides to disappear one last time. She thanks him for being the nicest guy she's ever dated. They say one last goodbye, and then she walks off. But Knives tells Scott that he should go get her. She says she's way too cool for him. I mean, shit, I don't disagree, bro. He's a loser. Hey, man, at least she understands. I still think it's funny how the main love interest is really a retired bop. And she was the side piece. Like, obviously, I'm just playing about her being a bop. But 7 exes that all want to fight you? Like, damn, that's some baggage. Next level baggage. Scott catches up to Ramona, and they walk off into a random door on the street. Who knows where it leads to or what it leads to, because now the movie's over. So yeah, that was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I think it's a really good movie in my opinion. It's pretty goated. I mean, that's just me though. The movie's cast is stacked for sure. And I just really wanted to get my opinions off on the movie. I wanted to share it, you know what I'm talking about. It's really nostalgic for me. I grew up on that shit. Anyways, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to get out of this like video game place, but I mean, I'll find out. I'll find out. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. It was my first time ever making some type of thing like this. I've never edited nothing really. I've never made no videos. So, yeah, I appreciate it, and I hope y'all enjoy it. Have a good one.